Welcome to episode 1 of me teaching you how to make a sorting visualizer, hopefully. So what we're first going to do is be able to generate a list and draw that list on the screen. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is delete this sprite, all the costumes in the sprite, because we don't want that showing on screen. When we click the flag, we want to ask the user how many lines or items we want them to have inside of their list. And the user could use any amount of lines from 1 to 1,053. So we need to be able to make sure that it looks correct for every single different number of lines you could have. So first we have to actually ask them how many lines would they like. And next we're going to have a variable named number of lines. And we will set number of lines to answer. So if we have it correct, when we click the flag, we should get it to ask us input the number of lines. And if we put, let's say 100, it will set number of lines to 100. If you do not want there to be a speech bubble and you want it to appear at the bottom there, all you have to do is have it hide. And then instead of the text being displayed up here, it will be displayed down here next to the bar. Okay, so we got the number of lines we want. Now, how do we actually generate a random list? Well, first of all, we need a new list. Let's name this data. This is going to be our main list that we use for pretty much every single sort. And for right now, until we have our lines drawn, we will have this data stretched out as far as we can. So now what we want to do is before we can add lines to data, we have to delete it so that we don't keep lines that we had previously. And now we want to repeat the amount of lines we have, because if we have one line, then it'll only put lines in it once. If it has 100 like this, it'll do it 100. So now we want to go back to our variables and repeat number of lines. We're also going to want a new variable. We'll name this one hashtag or pound number, because it will be used for generating numbers. We will set number to 0 and change it by 1 every time we loop. And we will add something to our list. Our list will have, every time we add something to it, it will add it onto the end. Like if you're writing numbers down on a piece of paper, you would write 1, then to the right of the 1 you would write 2, then so on. What we want to do is add our number every time, because every time it loops, it's going to be changed by 1. And so first time we'll add 1, second time we'll add 2, so on. So now if we do this again, let's do 20 lines. We should now have 20 lines inputted here. And you might think, I thought it was supposed to do it like 1 by 1. Well, it did. It just did it so fast that we can't see it. Now we've got our list, but the problem is it's already in order. We need it to be shuffled. So next we have to get to the shuffling part. What we want to do is once again repeat for number of lines. We're going to copy this whole part here actually. We're going to remove this, because now we are back at square one. We're back at number 1 here. And we need to swap it with a random number. So what we will do is we will replace here it is, item number with pick random 1 to number of lines. Now what will this do is it will pick a random number from 1 to number of lines, and it ignores decimals unless if you do something like this. If I do 1 point, it's not letting me, we'll do 1 point, or I picked the wrong one. Where is it? There it is. This will ignore decimals and pick a random number 1 to number of lines. If we add 0.0, it will include decimals, but we don't want decimals. So all we have to do is replace item number 1 with a random number and then that random number with item number 1. But we have 2 problems. One, how do we know what number we got here? Because if we just use this again, it's going to be 2 different random numbers. 16 and 12. So what we want to do is get a new variable, which we're going to name random saver. This will save our random numbers for us. So what we will do here actually is set random saver to our random number and then put random saver here and here. And now it's on to our second problem. What's going to happen here is that when we run this, it's going to replace item 1 with, let's say the random number picks 2. It's going to replace that 1 with the 2, but the 2 stays there. So when it goes to replace 2 with the 1 will now be a 2. So what we're going to do is make a new variable named holder. Like random number, or like random saver, this is going to hold variables for us. Hold values for us. We're going to use this multiple times throughout the entire project. So what we want to do is set holder to, and I actually forgot to do this. We'll set holder to item number. In this case, we're using item number or item 1 of data. So now we can save our number from before. So now instead of doing that, we will just replace it with holder. So now if we run it again, we should get a randomized list with a length of 20. Perfect. And it does not look like we have any duplicates, which means that this worked. So now what we are going to do is close this up a little bit. I'm going to make a new sprite. Once again, we don't want to have it be anything. We're going to name this one draw. Now what draw is responsible for is for drawing the items to the screen. So how does it know when to draw the items to the screen? What we're going to do, we're just going to make a new message named screen update. Every time we wanted to draw the items to the screen again, what we're going to do is send this message by doing something like this, and whatever's under here should happen. For example, let's say hello. Now it's saying hello. So now How do we do this? Well, right now we have 20 lines, and it's from 1 to 20. So what we want to do is draw 20 lines, where the smallest one is 1 and the largest one is 20, with all of them in between. Now what we can do is use our number of lines again. What we're going to do is repeat number of lines. We're going to set number to 0, or actually we're going to set it to 1, and we're going to do a change number by 1. Next, what we're going to do is have it go to, well, first we have to import pen so that we can use the pen. And next, what we have to have it do is pen up, erase all, so that it clears whatever's on the screen. And then we need to go to our bottom left corner. So what we want to do is go to roughly negative 100, no, negative 200, and y negative 160, I believe. And what we will do is go there and put pen down. And you see that tiny dot that appeared there? That is our tiny little pen drawer. Now, we have that, but that's kind of small. That's not a line, and there's only one of them. So what we want to do is actually take this and put this here and have we need to go up the length of whatever it is, but how do we know how high we need to go? Well, right now we know it's 20, but if we just do it so that it goes up by 20, however long this is, like 30, 60, 80, so on. What if we have 50 lines now? The one that's 50 long is going to be up here. This is where we get to use number of lines again. We're going to do number of lines divided by however long this is. Or wait, no, the other way around. However long this is divided by number of lines, and then multiply it by our number. So that should be roughly just these, if you make them positive and multiply them by 2. So if you do 400, or right now we're doing up and down, so that'd actually be 320. And then we want to multiply it by number of lines. Wait, no, we want to do number, because that's the current number we are on. Item number of data. We will have it point upwards so that it will move upwards. And then we will have pen go down, and then pen come up. And let's repeat it once. Let's not do all of them. Let's just see what it looks like. Now that didn't work. It should be going up by 20. Maybe our pen is just super small. Let's set our pen size to 10. Okay, so it's still there. Oh, wait. I had another brain fart. There we go. Now that's actually quite high. What we want is a little bit less than that. Let's say 290. There we go. That's much better. Now we just need to go right once and do that again and again and again. So now we will put this back in here. And we will have to go back down, but right. So we only have to set the y to negative 160. And then we will need to change your x to 400, because that's that times 2, divided by number of lines, times our, not our current item, but number. And we will set x, then we will change x by that. And if we have done it right, then we should see all of our lines. We have not done it correct. Now, something that's quite peculiar is that the gaps are getting bigger. Yes, something is causing it to get gradually bigger. There's something in here that seems to be causing it to move to the right more than it should. This is very interesting. Oh, yeah, that. Okay, so I fixed it. So now, all we had to do is hide this list, and we've got our list drawn. But there are a few things that we need to change. Let's do 100 lines really quick. Those lines are kind of too big. And what if we do only 5 lines? Those lines are kind of skinny. Maybe what we should do is we should use number of lines to change the size of the pen as well. So we'll get our dividing operator. We will go to pen. We will set pen size to, let's say, what's a good maximum size for if we were to have only one element? Oh yeah, I have the set pen size there. That seems pretty good. Nice and centered. That seems pretty good. So we'll do 100 divided by number of lines. Whoops. And now we can remove this one because we don't need that. We should see if I do something like 200 lines. Look at that. They're nicely sized. Now, what if someone wants to do, for some reason, 10,000 lines? That's taking quite a while. So we're going to make our first custom block. It's going to be named Generate Random. We will run it without a screen refresh. That's the wrong sprite. Generate. Oops, I did it again. Generate random. What we will do is put generate random, this block, here. And now, every time this gets to here, it'll do anything underneath here. So for example, what if I have this sprite say, hello? Now it's saying hello. But what we want is for it to do this as fast as it can. So we'll put this underneath here, and the screen refresh means that it will run as fast as it can instead of making you see every change. Now that's quite a lot of lines. And we might also want to change this down a little bit to 80. There we go. Let's say just 1,000 lines instead of 10,000 lines. Look at that. So what we will now do is pull our broadcast screen update here. And what we will do is put this here. So now if I do 128 lines, it should immediately generate 128 lines. And that is all for generating a list and then randomizing it and then drawing it to a screen.